Welcome back to...
Welcome Black?
Black, is that what I'm just saying tonight?
I don't know where your head is. Yeah.
Right?
Well, it is February.
It
is February. So.
It's February, that's right. I'm being politically correct.
Is it Black History Month?
Yes, it is.
Well, there you go.
How
would I know it's Black History Month?
Because everybody should know it's Black History Month.
Jewish History Month?
Yes, there is.
No.
Yes, there is. No, there isn't.
Yeah.
Come on, Jewish History Month. What would Jewish History Month be? It'd be like a depressing month. Okay, that would be the most guilt-ridden, depressing month of all time.
I would think it's...
You were killed and you ran. Let's rejoice. I mean, literally, that would be... It'd be like 30 days of persecution. It'd be like the History Channel.
Wow.
It'd be like Hitler's March. And oh God, that would be a very. I hope my mother doesn't watch this part.
Right, you're done. It was a good week last week, and now your mom's not going to be.
Yeah.
Do you live for your mother, Judah?
No.
No. Okay.
That's like the worst question you could ever ask a single man. Because like they never want to say yes. I live for my mother.
That whole "my mom lives with me" bit still not working.
No,
still not working.
You know what drives me crazy? The women that say, and it really, women that go, oh, I want a guy that treats his. That's how you judge a guy is by how he treats his mother. I'm like, really? Because guys in prison all love their mother.
Yeah.
So it's a little too early to say I love my mother. Okay. It's a true story. I was in Kingsborough Community College. I pick up this beautiful girl. I drive her home, and she's in the middle. We're talking. She's like, "Yeah, I have an ex-boyfriend," and he's like, "But I was like, where is he?" She's like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it." I was like, "Come on, where is he?" She goes, "He's in jail," and I go, "Is he really your ex?" He's like, "Well, he's in jail." Like a real Brooklyn girl with the Brooklyn hair, and she goes to me, "You don't know him like I know him." She gave me one of those, and I was like, "But I don't want to know him like you know him." I don't know why I'm talking about this girl, because it's really not that funny. But anyways,
heartbreaking,
yes.
actually.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Heartbreaking.
No, it was like, yeah, anyway.
I was just reading an article. It turns out that since 2005, Nevada has been having a tax on every slot machine. $2 from every slot machine annually went to drug prevention and gambling and alcohol and gambling anonymous programs.
Wow.
And the state's now cutting it. Which doesn't really surprise me because
money's down.
Well, they also want people to gamble, right?
Or maybe they should have put it into like renewal of Nevada.
Renewal of Nevada. Well, actually, they're claiming that they can't make their budget, and so they need to cut.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Then nobody's gambling because nobody's got any money, because nobody has any jobs, because there's a recession, and blah blah blah, and it trickles downhill. But let me tell you something about addiction. Some people, Andrew, believe that addiction is just simply an attachment disorder. Have you ever heard that?
Yes,
what is an attachment disorder?
It's what you have with your mother.
Oh. Okay, for anybody that's listening, this is not true.
It's true. It's true.
Oh my goodness.
Let me ask you something, Bob. Now, since I stopped drinking, I've been playing a lot of video games too. Is there such thing as a video game addiction?
There is. To a
is.
thing called EverQuest. There's actual drug 12-step based.
Well, it's process addiction.
Yeah, but to that particular game, EverQuest. Have you
What
ever
is
heard
that?
of it?
No.
I don't know.
It's one of these multiplayer.
Is that like the
online-
Avatar? You get, you're in a world within a world.
World of Warcraft.
Yeah, but I've had problems with World of Warcraft. Actually, my ex made me choose World of Warcraft and her, and at one point I said, you know what, I can't leave my trolls alone.
Oh, there you go.
Were you talking about your girlfriend or the game?
Both.
That's true, though. We mentioned this last week that there's a
Internet.
whole group of people in Japan that have been diagnosed as being addicted to the internet, and there's this group of young men, they estimated to be around 100,000, that have not left their room for years at a time.
They actually have cut off their hands to
And
treat them.
Their mothers actually bring them food, and they just live in their room, and they're completely addicted to the internet and playing games. That's it. That's their whole life.
But basically, you replace, if you're really out of sorts and out of whack, and then you replace it with something you get out of sorts and out of whack with that. What you want to do is head towards a better understanding and a healthier outlook and all the stuff that we've talked about.
I think when you first get sober, though, a lot of us, me in particular, I played my son. My father, I mentioned this last week, got me a Sony PlayStation. Right. And for just because I couldn't go to sleep, I couldn't sleep. So all I would do is at night, play my Sony PlayStation and listen to the radio. But eventually I grew out of it. But
Yeah,
it was.
but you were doing other things in order to grow out.
I was doing right. I was doing right. I wasn't
point.
just sitting at home playing my Madden.
You're not going to
99.
run its course.
See, that's my problem. I wake up in the morning and I get on my PlayStation and I do that all day.
You mean the actual video game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The actual video game.
Try getting out and about with your buddy and going to some meetings.
Yeah, maybe we should go.
Some people.
Where do you live?
Mountain climbing or something.
Hollywood?
No, Orange County right now.
Yeah, go to an early morning meeting.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's like a few meetings probably out here on the beach or
Oh,
something.
there's tons of them.
But I think it's normal, to replace, a lot of people are polyaddicted. So you have people that, were alcoholics and they stop drinking, and then all of a sudden they find they're taking benzodiazepines or tranquilizers, and then all of a sudden, wow, now they're taking opiates and painkiller pills, like Vicodin or whatever. And people tend to switch, and you can switch to process addictions, like gambling is the most common. Sex is definitely an addiction for some people. So.
Food.
Right, food.
But
right?
is it a separate addiction? That's always my kind of problem with this multi-dimensional behavioral addictions and treating them. Because one of my things about the sex addiction is if you thoroughly... I've never met a sex addict who wasn't an alcoholic. Number one. When they had the Meadows, when Carnes ran it, the atypical patient was a male between 35 and 50, 10 years or more sober in 12-step community. That was the average patient for sex addiction treatment. So obviously it's just a movement in a different direction.
What do you say, switching seats in the Titanic?
Yes, exactly. And Bill Wilson certainly had his problems with that. Did he not, Andrew?
Well, it's rumored that he had various issues.
Yes. He liked women.
Well, why did he pick one thing in the 4-step? Why did he pick the one subject you address rather than interpersonal things or family relations things? Sex.
He liked
the
Mrs.
thing that
Jones.
he picked.
Well, I would hate to speak for him.
Or Mr. Jones.
but it's so video games is more benign. It's a less harmful thing than hurting somebody else and being involved in sex.
But
here's the thing about gambling addiction. You can only spend so much money on drugs in a weekend. You can lose ungodly amounts of money in a weekend.
You can lose everything.
Yeah, I knew a guy that lost $95,000 in a weekend in Las Vegas in one weekend. You can't do $95,000 worth of drugs in a weekend. So what he did was more destructive than the actual disease he claimed to have in remission.
Well, I don't think he was really in remission. I mean, there's a lot of people that would argue with us, of course, because they hold him up to be, one of the founders of AA. So he's highly,
Oh, it's not right. It wasn't Bill that lost 95.
No. There was another sober guy I knew that lost $95,000 a weekend gambling in Vegas, and so the idea is, he's successful in his abstinence from drugs and alcohol, but he's now replacing something more destructive.
I don't know if gambling and losing money is more destructive than actually putting a substance in your body. I mean, certainly both are not.
To his quality of life, that's what you measure.
Right. As somebody that has struggled with gambling addiction.
Really struggled with it?
Yeah, struggled with gambling addiction. It's
insidious.
It's insidious, and it's harder.
Really
it's really hard because the loneliness, the isolation, especially when you're sober. To talk about that you're struggling with other stuff is not always the easiest thing, because you're scared you're going to be judged. And it's so funny, you're going to be judged by other people that are gambling and drinking. And it's
Well, people think it's ridiculous that you could be addicted to video games or to gambling, but you think that it was just as overwhelming as alcohol?
No. What the thing about gambling is that. Listen, you could drink and you could
You're getting a little emotional. I'm watching you. It's okay.
No, but you could drink and you could use and you could die that night. And that's
you can owe a bookie $100,000.
You could owe a bookie $100,000 to die that night. Well, they'll break your legs first, but no. I mean, do I think it's as bad as alcoholism or drug addiction? No. Do I think food addiction is as bad as alcoholism or drug addiction? No. Do I think they're both extremely insidious? Yes.
I'm talking about destruction to your quality of life. If you're claiming that you're well because you don't drink and take drugs anymore, and you're losing $95,000 in a weekend,
Well, I don't think anybody's claiming they're well.
They do, though. I'm sober. That word, I'm sober, means something.
It's progress, not perfection. It's,
right, and the gambling is less harmful. Or you just said it. Gambling and sex addiction less harmful than drinking and drug addiction. I don't know about that.
No, you're right. It's in the sense like this. Was Bill Clinton? Let's use Bill Clinton as an analogy.
No,
for a second.
I like the sex
addict?
addiction. Sex involves another person.
Was
You
Bill
are
Clinton
taking advantage and abusing and or causing now an interaction with somebody else that is part of your addiction.
Was Bill Clinton a sex addict?
I don't know. You have to ask him.
No. The reason I'm asking that is because the decisions in his life was affected by.
All of our lives were affected.
Right. All of our lives were affected by the fact that this guy, couldn't keep his thing in his pants. So is it? So I mean, what I'm asking you is because you're talking about the fallout. You're talking about the consequences. Is there a difference if the consequences are great?
I'm saying that sex addiction involves somebody else. It's more destructive than alcoholism that doesn't involve somebody else.
We actually have a call right now from someone that's having a problem with a friend. Why don't we get them on the line? Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Yes.
How you doing?
Good.
How are you?
And your name is?
Ross.
Hi, Ross. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. But I have a question for you. I have a really good friend of mine who is drinking way too much and very self-destructive, and I just don't know what to do how to help him.
Have you confronted him?
I'm sorry?
Have you confronted him and said how sad it makes you to watch him do that?
Yeah, but he's just in denial about it. It's my life, that type of thing. And it's affecting his life and his friends and his family.
Was anybody here intervened on? Did anybody have that happen?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, basically, I could relate to what his friends going through with the denial.
Right.
Because this is a sad thing because I was intervened on several times by my friends mostly. And unfortunately, until the person actually asks for the help, there isn't a whole lot you can do, and that's a sad thing when you're watching somebody just drive their life right down the gutter. There's certain that you can put some pamphlets in front of them. You could say, hey, listen, this is affecting other people. You could try to intervene. You can at least make it aware to that person and it was aware to me that people have a problem with me, but until I realized that I believed it was a problem for everybody else and myself, unfortunately, the interventions didn't work on me.
People in AA, and you watch intervention, they say that people have a bottom. Do you believe in that concept?
Absolutely.
And what did that mean for you?
The bottom meant the first step. That was my bottom. The difference between saying, I knew I was an alcoholic for 10 years.
Right.
I knew I was, and I even said I was. The difference between me hitting bottom and continuing to drink was, for 10 years I tried to fix the problem by myself. As soon as I admitted that I could no longer help myself, that I needed help, that I was powerless to help myself, that was my bottom. My bottom was I was completely
and quickly
powerless.
After that comes a succession of ideas. One, making a decision to follow through with a commitment to remain abstinent, attend meetings, get somebody to guide you through.
But Ross here on the line saying, he's got a friend. He's obviously
I get really harsh about this stuff.
What about the concept of raising the bottom?
But the idea being this, the way that people worry about other people, I don't really get. And it's part of how alcoholics manipulate systems for years, in my case, 10 years. As soon as everybody just said, you know what, go ahead and be about your business, and didn't talk to me anymore and didn't want me in their lives, about 7 months later, I eventually got sober. But as long as they were chasing me around and wanting me, please, Bob, please, I was like, okay, yeah, all right. And so I remember the first orthodox intervention I had. I just thought, oh, this is nice. This seems all right. These people care about me. I'll go do what I got to do. And then as soon as I realized I don't want to do what they're asking me to do at this rehab center, then I was in a quandary because I love my friends who care about me, but I'm not going to do this crap that they're suggesting. And I think that's what happens after a lot of interventions is that the compassion that the people care about the person. But afterwards, you're like, I'm not going to do this. Are you kidding me?
You know what, Ross?
Right?
Thank you so much for calling. We're actually running out of time. I'd just like to thank everybody that came in, our wonderful comedians, and Bob Forrest, and Judah once again.
We have a great guest lined up for next week, too.
Quickly, would either of you like to give a plug for a website or shows you're doing?
You can add us on, you can add me on Facebook.com, Vince Royale fan page. And,
okay, and Pat?
Yeah, I want to just say, go to our Laughaholics Nation page on Facebook.
Okay, 5 seconds. See you later, kids.
Yeah.
Have a great week.
See everybody next week.